Hey guys, Mr. Breen here, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate what efficiency means for economics purposes. Alright, let's take a look at a few different situations. So in this first situation up here, we have two siblings and one television, and they both want to watch television, but they want to watch different things. And I suppose this probably was a bigger problem before you could watch TV on your computer, but here's their situation. Over here, you have two high school girls and this high school guy who's obviously highly desirable because he has, like some muscles there, water wings or something, and some feet. These guys don't have feet, so that's a big selling point. But they each want to manipulate this guy into asking them to the dance. And down here, you can either study for your test and get an A+, I guess. Maybe it's maybe optimistic, but there's your test, or you can play basketball with your friends. In each of these situations, what would be the most efficient thing economically? And these might not seem like economic situations, but really they are. And the answer is, well, each of these situations is pretty complicated. We can't know exactly what's going to be the most efficient thing just from the information that we've been given. So we're going to have to add some information. Let's say that child A watching TV gives him 15 utility, and that's happiness, and child B, it only gives him 12. Well, if we know that, then we can confidently say that child A should get to watch TV. Yes, I know that this leaves child B sort of in the lurch, but at least child A gets to watch TV, and 15 is greater than 12. So the utility of the whole system, the happiness of everyone all put together, is maximized. But let's say that's not the whole story. Let's say that child B, let me label him, child B, child A. Child B has no other good alternatives. That means that whatever else he'd be doing, he's going to get 0 out of it. Whereas child A has some friends that he could play with outside, and that is not as good as watching TV, but it's still worth 10 happiness to him. Okay, so now the efficient outcome is actually for B to watch TV and get 12 happiness, and for A not to watch TV, but to go outside and play with his friends, which gives him 10, okay, because now the whole utility of the system is 22, whereas if child A watches TV, the utility of the system is only 15. Okay, now let's analyze this dance situation in the same way. So let's say that if these two go together, she gets 10 utility and he gets 8. And if these two go together, then he only gets 4 utility, but she gets, let's say, 15. Well, now the most efficient outcome here is if these two go together. Together, their total utility is 19, whereas for these two, their total utility is only 18. Yeah, he's worse off, but she's much better off. The situation on the bottom right is much easier to think about. So let's say that the basketball gives you 20 utility right now, and the test gives you 0 utility right now. But studying for your test does anyway. But in the long run, the basketball it gives you like 2 in the long run, and the that's an investment. Basketball is an investment, and you're hanging out with your friends. But the test in the long run gives you something like 30. Well, here it's actually going to be pretty difficult to figure out what you should do. It depends on how much you value short-term happiness versus long-term happiness, but that's how you're going to make that decision. Now, this leads us to a few principles. First, efficiency means that we're going to maximize total utility. By utility, again, I mean happiness. And happiness is very hard to measure. So instead of saying utils, it's the unit I've been using, it's sort of an artificial, arbitrary, ridiculous measure, we could say dollars. How much would you be willing to pay to do something versus how much someone else would be willing to pay to do something? Secondly, no one can become better off without making someone else worse off. Obviously, if you have a situation where one person can become better off and no one else becomes worse off by their doing that, then they should do that. And then once they reach that point, then we're efficient. And third, I want you to note, efficiency does not mean equality, okay? In every situation that we talked about that involved more than one person, the people were unequally happy even in the most efficient situation, which is fine. Efficiency doesn't have anything to do with equality, actually. Efficiency just means that total utility is maximized and no one can become better off without someone else becoming worse off.